He's not just another transfer student. He's a trained killer raised on the battlefield, thrown into high school life with one mission: protect the ones he loves. From war zones to school hallways, he's about to show the world why messing with you, Ijin, is a fatal mistake. This is Mercenary enrollment, where action hits harder than math class, and loyalty is stronger than blood. Subscribe for more Manhwa breakdowns, reviews, and top-tier action. Hit the bell, or Ijin might hit harder. Our story starts in an undisclosed location. Two people are being kept prisoner. The military guy begins speaking, expressing his apology to the professor. The professor rebukes this apology, saying that all of this happened because of him. The soldier starts thinking about the events that got him in this situation, expressing his anger at the informant who had betrayed them, saying that the enemy force was much larger than anticipated, and that they knew their route and attack timings perfectly. This was a trap from the very beginning. Some clanks happen beyond the door, and it shortly opens, one of the guards throwing another soldier into the holding cell, who we find out is named Sergeant Kim. The other soldier is visibly angry at seeing another soldier treated this way and gets up to spout insults at their captor. The guard saying something in a language that we can't understand and promptly bashes the soldier's head with an assault rifle. We get a peek at this captor, showing us that he is of African descent, meaning this whole ordeal might be happening in one of the many war-torn countries in that continent. Kim asks the other soldier if he's okay, calling him lieutenant. The lieutenant says he's fine and asks about the other troops, who Kim says that they were dragged off someplace else. More clanks happened outside the door, and again, it shortly opens after. One of the guards looking down at them, that's when he falls to the ground, knocked out by a person who was behind him, who asks if Lieutenant Kang Hamchan is here. The lieutenant is surprised to hear Korean coming from the stranger's mouth and asks who he is. The stranger says that he is here to rescue them, and they all begin following him. We see the results of this stranger's arrival, with multiple guards knocked out cold. Kang expressing his surprise. Kang then asks the stranger about his division and how many people he is with. The stranger says that he cannot disclose this information and that he is alone. Kang is again surprised by this, thinking that how could a single person do this? Stealthily too, a door suddenly opens and a guard comes out, who is reaching for his gun after he saw them. Kang is prepared to open fire, but before he can do anything, the stranger sprints at the guards and incapacitates the first one with 2 swift blows, and taking the other one out with a knife throw. The stranger talks with the soldiers, saying that they will increase their pace and that he will take care of the enemies. Kang agrees, annoyed at the fact that he's basically treating them like baggage. The stranger moves swiftly and quickly defeats any guards that try to stop him. Kang noticed that there will be multiple enemies beyond the next corner and that the stranger will need help with this one. The stranger, however, keeps moving and dashes in front of the guards, silently taking all of them out. Kang is shocked at his disregard for life, saying that he is a true monster, but he is too reckless, and it's clear that he's not from the military. They make it outside, and the stranger tells them to wait here for 1 minute. Kang is puzzled by this, but notice the other soldiers behind them, who are clearly out of breath, showing the stranger's ability to observe. Kang notices the stranger's black pupils, and is clumsy but overall good Korean. Kang asks if he is Korean, but the stranger doesn't respond and waits a bit until saying that time is up, and they begin moving again. Kang wondering if he is correct. After a while, they make it to a clearing, where the other soldiers who were captured are waiting for them. Both parties happy that they reunited. Kang asks what happened to them, and they say that the stranger also saved them and told them to wait here. The stranger proclaims that this is where they part ways, and that if they go southwest, there will be people waiting for them. Kang expresses his gratitude, but the stranger says there's no need for thanks, and that he simply carried out a request. Kang confirms his suspicion of him being a mercenary and offers him a handshake, saying that even if it was a request, he would still like to give his thanks. The stranger looks at Kang's hand, and that's when an explosion comes out of the bushes, surprising them both. The stranger screams for everyone to get down, an explosion occurring right as he finished his sentence. Kang gets discombobulated by the explosion, but he manages to survive, saying that the explosion was from mortar rounds. He looks for his people and finds that they are safe, the explosion having missed them. Suddenly, gunshots can be heard, and we see the stranger retaliating at the attackers. Kang is extremely surprised by his appearance, and rightly so, because the stranger looks just like a teenager, showing us that he is quite young. It cuts to 6 months later, and we see the outside of a school. Inside, a teacher is presenting a new student to a class, who is the stranger that helped the soldiers escape. While presenting himself, we finally get his name, Ijin. Inside the school, a girl thinks about her brother. Her thinking gets cut short after a girl comes into class screaming about a new student who is apparently very good looking. The girl knows that they were talking about her brother. The brother she never expected to be alive due to a plane crash that occurred while he was inside. Inside an airport, she looks longingly at Ijin, who we find out is her brother. Next to him is an old man who is gently touching his face while crying, expressing his surprise and happiness at him returning alive. The girl questions if that is really her brother. That's when Ijin looks at her and gently smiles at her, saying that she must be Daeun. Her thinking is interrupted by a girl who is annoyed at Daeun for ignoring her for so long. The girl demands Daeun's gym clothes later during PE and asks if he brought them. Daeun says that she did, but if she gives that to the girl, what will she wear? The girl scoffs at Daeun and calls her insane for talking back to them, slapping her across the head. The girl is clearly bullying Daeun and asks if she wants to get beaten up in front of everyone to the point of crying again, showing us that this bullying has gone on for a while. We cut back to the class that Ijin is attending, where the teacher is still presenting him to the class, saying that he was living abroad for personal reasons and that they should help him adjust to his new life. The girls are all quite infatuated with him. The teacher tells him to take a seat in an empty seat, and he obliges. While walking to his seat, a guy with red hair and an orange tracksuit glares at him, wondering why people are fawning over him, and that he looks pretty weak. Big words coming from someone that looks like he's trying to cosplay a Oompa Loompa. The guy tries to humiliate Ijin by trying to trip him, but Ijin notices instantly and stops. The guy is surprised by this, thinking that he timed it perfectly. Ijin glares at him, which annoys him. That's when Ijin thinks about what he discussed with Kong, the lieutenant. Kong told him to avoid fighting while living in Korea, and Ijin obliges, saying that he won't engage in battle if he doesn't have enough data about the place, and that he has no intention of moving too hastily and getting killed. Ijin says that he is a professional who lived on the battlefield for 10 years, quite a lot considering his age. Kong stops him from his rant, saying that's not why he's telling him this, and more so for his opponent, expressing his worry for anyone he faces. The teacher noticed that Ijin is standing still and asks why he stopped moving. Ijin apologies and continues walking to the seat. The guy says that Ijin is scared out loud, but Ijin ignores him. The teacher tells the student next to Ijin to take care of him, and we find that the student is named Park Yunchan. Yunchan obliges and exchanges greeting with Ijin. Ijin warns Ijin about the person who tried to trip him, who is named Lee Jae-hyun. He says to be careful around him and his friend, Ju Hyuk-jin, who is now chatting with Lee. Ijin thanks him for all the information. That's when the math teacher walks into class and begins the lesson. Ijin notices the people around him, some sleeping, some laughing at something on the phone, and some are outside in gym clothes. He thinks about his mercenary days, and we see a glimpse of the hellish training he went through, noting that this country is peaceful while looking into the sky. School ends, and we see Daeun walking to the school gates. She spots Ijin, who is waiting for her. She is quite surprised by this. Ijin asks if she wants to go home together, and she obliges. While walking back, a silence falls on them. Ijin saying that this must be quite awkward. Daeun saying that it's not really that awkward, only just a little. Ijin says that there's no need to be so flustered, and that he feels the same. He was only 9 during the incident, meaning that he barely has memories of her or their grandfather, saying that it must be worse for her since she was only 7. This means that Ijin is 19 and Daeun is 17. They walk silently for a while, but one of the girls who was bullying her spots Daeun, who gets nervous, thinking about what she should do. The girl taunts Daeun, asking who the boy next to her is, mocking her by saying it must be her boyfriend, and that even she can date. Daeun jumps at the notion, saying that it's her brother. The girl's surprised by this notion. Ijin asks if she's a friend, and Daeun sheepishly says that she is. The girl gets annoyed by this and asks Daeun if she is her friend. Daeun is visibly shaking, and the girl asks again. Ijin stares at the group, one of them being angry at his staring, getting up from his seat, the other one asking if he's out of his mind. Ijin thinks that they are picking a fight, one of them slowly approaching them, proclaiming that you meet all kinds out here. He stands face to face with Ijin and says that he's only trying to act cool in front of his sister. Ijin notes all his mistakes, thinking that he's closing in the distance like it's nothing, with his weak spots exposed and without a weapon to boot. He is puzzled at his confidence, and he remembers the words of Kong, deciding to leave this guy alone. The guy, fed up with Ijin ignoring him, he grabs him by the shirt and prepares to slap him. That's when Daeun bows her head in apologies, saying that he lived abroad for a long time, and he is not used to the culture. The guy rebukes this, asking, what does that have to do with him? Ijin looks at his sister, who is looking horrified at what is transpiring. Ijin suddenly jabs the guy's hand and drops his backpack on the ground. He goes to Diane and tell her to stand still for a bit, gently putting his blazer on her head. The guy tries to come from behind with an attack, but he swiftly gets knocked out with one punch. The other two surprised at this performance. Ijin is annoyed that he had to break the promise he made to the lieutenant in the first day. The other guy is now visibly sweating and is very confused at what just occurred. It cuts to a military zone where some people are training. We see Kong looking at them. That's when a soldier comes behind him, saying that today is the day that Ijin goes to school. It seems that they have educated him for half a year, and they hope that he adjusts well. Kong confidently says that he will be fine. He trained Ijin after all. It cuts to the conflict MC is in, right when he knocks the first guy out. The guy is knocked out cold, just from one hit. Ijin swiftly dashes to the other person and punches him right in the gut, throwing him over the small balcony and knocking him out instantly as well. The girl is shocked at the outcome of the fight, and Ijin looks at her with killing intent. Dayun takes the blazer that was on her head off and wonders what happened to the guys that were picking a fight, seeing them knocked out cold. Ijin walks past the girl, right to Dayun, and asks her if she was surprised, offering to buy some food for her. Dayun reassuring him that it's okay. Ijin says that they should go home, and we get a glimpse of just how well-built he is, with his muscles showing even through his clothes. The girl looks at him for a second, asking if it's really the same person that knocked two people out in an instant, because he's treating Dayun so gently. They leave, and the girl is left dumbfounded. While walking back, Dayun asks if he knocked out the guys that were threatening them, and he says yes. Dayun says that it's rude to stare at people, and they might get angry. Ijin says that he knows. But he did all of that because it looked like they were causing her trouble. She flares up at this notion and blushes heavily. Ijin wondering if it's because it's something he said. At home, his grandpa is pleading with him to not do the dishes, and instead is sit in to eat some fruit. Ijin refuses, saying that he should sit down while he does the dishes. While doing the dishes, his grandpa says that he hopes the food was to his liking, and that he prepared the food to the best of his abilities. Ijin says that he always enjoys his cooking, and the food is always delicious. His grandpa clearly being happy about the compliment. He then asks about the first day of school and says if there were any problems. Ijin looks back at Dayun and says that there were none. They all wish each other good night and head to bed. While sitting in his bed, Ijin thinks about the things that happened up to this point, and how his grandpa kindly welcomed him, showing the amount of food he made for him. While sleeping, Ijin dreams about the day of the crash, and we see a glimpse of what happened, his parents protecting him while the plane was falling to its doom. He jolts awake, relieved that it was just a dream. He goes out of his room and sees Dayun preparing him breakfast. Ijin notices that his grandfather is missing, Dayun noting that he left for work. Ijin's slightly surprised at the notion. Dayun also hurries to the door, saying that she has to leave early. Ijin looks at the food on the table, which is quite a lot of leftovers from last night. It cuts to the girl who witnessed the fight previously, who is explaining to the girl that is bullying Dayun, her name being Ijin, that the guy who knocked all her friends out was Dayun's brother. We then see that after Ijin and Dayun left, Ijin happened to pass the group of bullies, demanding to know what happened to them. The girl asks herself if they would really be okay if they keep bullying Dayun, remembering what Ijin did and the glare he gave her afterwards. But she reassures herself, saying that Ijin's brother is the alpha among the third years. We cut to Dayun suddenly being slapped across the head, and we see that it was Ijin who demands for Dayun to follow her. Dayun does so, and it cuts to outside of the school, where Dayun is now getting beaten up. Ijin saying that she warned her about acting out. Ijin says that her brother's life is going to be tiresome too, implying that her brother is going to be to Ijin right now, and that he probably met him already. Dayun screams in retaliation, but gets slapped. Ijin annoyed at her screaming. Dayun gets up and runs to Ijin's class, where we see that Ijin's brother and his goons are already inside it. She makes it before they could do anything, and screams for her brother. Ijin sees her all tattered, red across the face due to the slap, and her clothing all muddied, his eyes turning predatory. Ijin's brother scoffs at this and asks Dayun if she's worried about him. Ijin coming out of the doorway and saying that even she would be worried if her brother got beat up. Judging by Ijin's look, things will not end well for them. A few moments prior to the incident, we see Lee and Ju bullying Youngchan, throwing erasers at him, trying to aim for his head. Ju asks a classmate for his eraser rather intimidatingly, and he obliges. This eraser is quite big, and he hits Youngchan in the head, who is uncomfortable with this. Lee and Ju bicker between each other, with Lee saying that he just got lucky, and it's just because he did it with a big eraser. He picks up a bigger eraser, who looks quite hard, and throws it with all his might. But that's when Ijin comes in front of the victim, blocking the projectile with his backpack. They are quite annoyed at this, and when Ijin sits down, they plan to call him over after school to make him stop being annoying. Lee Jin asks Youngshin if he is okay, and he reluctantly says yes, with Lee Jin noticing the bullies looking at him and laughing. Youngshin asks Lee Jin if he is doing anything after school. If not, he can show him around. Lee Jin declines, saying that he has to go home with his sister today. Youngchan is interested at this notion, asking if they transferred together. Lee Jin says that she was already in school, and Youngchan asks her name. When he hears the name Dayun, he immediately panics, and with sadness on his face, he tells Lee Jin that his sister's school life is rather difficult. Because she was quite popular with the boys since middle school due to her being pretty, and there was a girl who had a crush on one of the boys. That's how they started bullying Dayun. Lee Jin is surprised that people would just let this happen, but Youngchan says that it's because the girl's older brother is Kim Ki-soo, the top dog in the third year's class 3. Youngchan continues, saying that this harassment got even worse, as she was in the same class as the main girl bully when they started school. Getting so bad that people were surprised she was still attending school. Lee Jin tries to understand all this, finding it quite dumb that she would bully Dayun for such an idiotic reason. Youngchan says that once you learn the truth, it's nothing special. People like them don't need any special reason to bully. Lee Jin thinks back at what they talked with his grandpa, who asked Dayun if her school life is going well. Dayun obviously lying that it is, with a tinge of sadness on her face. Lee Jin thanks him for the information, and that's when a large guy, the same one Lee Jin beat up at the store, bashes the door of the class with a group of other people following him. Ju asks what they're doing here, but that's when Kim Ki-soo responds, saying that there's something that he wants, with the group surprised that he is here. Kim's goons point him to Lee Jin, who bashes them for losing against such a guy, noting that he looks quite frail. He beckons Lee Jin to get up, and he does so. Lee Jin asks if he is Kim, with Kim surprised that he already knows his name. Lee Jin glares at him, which annoys Kim, ordering one of his goons to bring him over here. While the goon approaches Lee Jin, his sister suddenly rushes in, bruised and dirty. Lee Jin takes in the sight, and his eyes turn cold. Kim says that he is quite jealous Lee Jin has such a caring sister, with Hyejin suddenly responding that she would be worried too if her brother was about to be beaten up. Dayun looks at the amount of people that are going after Lee Jin and begins crying, apologizing to him. Lee Jin says that there is no need to apologize, suddenly throwing a right hook at the guy that's in front of him, knocking him out cold. Lee Jin assures her that none of this is her fault. Another goon tries to punch Lee Jin, but to no avail, as Lee Jin redirects his punch, hitting his exposed windpipe. The goon instantly falls to his knees, surely having a hard time breathing. One of the last goons panics, desperately trying to hit Lee Jin. This, however, is what dooms him, as he is extremely exposed. Lee Jin throws a kidney shot, landing the hit and toppling the guy over. Everyone is left shocked at this outcome, even Kim. Lee Jin glares at the brother and sister, who are left shaken by this. Kim notes that Lee Jin knows a few tricks, Lee Jin ignoring him completely. Kim tries to hit Lee Jin in the neck with his leg, thinking at first that he got him. His illusions disappear, however, as he sees that Lee Jin blocked the attack perfectly. Kim panics and throws another attack on the other side, Ijin easily blocking this one. He grabs Kim's leg and punches him directly in the face, throwing him on the ground. Ijin glares at him with murderous intent, and with one final attack, he knocks Kim out. Everyone is surprised he could defeat Kim, Lee, and Ju even more so. He approaches Hyejin, clenching his fist as he does so. Hyejin is sure that he will hit her, but that's when Dayun stops him, saying it's enough. Ijin retorts this notion, asking if these aren't the same people that bullied her. She says that it's fine now, and he should stop. Ijin does so and offers to take her back to class. In the class, Kim's sister is fuming at the sight of her brother and his friends beaten up. While walking, Dayun notes that Ijin is quite good at fighting, and also apologizes again, saying that it's because of her he got into fights 2 days in a row. Ijin says that he would happily fight for her, saying that from where he used to live, people would just think only about themselves. There were exceptions, however. It was when family got involved. It cuts to a flashback, Ijin as a mercenary, wondering what exactly a family was, seeing a man protecting his daughter from his attacks. Dayun asks how can this be, knowing that he barely remembers her and grandpa. He says that she is right, but he knows for sure that they are family. Dayun gets embarrassed at this and tells Ijin that she will walk the rest of the way alone. Ijin asks why, but they are already in front of her class. She waves goodbye, Ijin smiling at her shyness. He arrives back to class, Lee and Ju congratulating him over his victory, with Ju saying that it looked like he was smurfing. He sits in his seat, and Young-chan shyly says that he thinks Ijin looked cool too. In another place, Kim and his goons lament what happened, with Kim noting that Ijin is in a completely different league. His sister keeps bashing him, wondering how they could lose to one person. Kim, having had enough of her yapping, tells her to shut up, with her not backing down at all. With one final menacing glare from Kim, she gets so mad a tear forms in her eye and leaves, slamming the door behind her. She goes back to class, where she mockingly says to Daeun that her life will be easy from now on, as she can rely on her brother for anything. Daeun ignores Ijin, which makes her extremely mad. She wonders if she just has to watch Daeun quietly from now on, saying that there's no way she would do such a thing. While walking to the school gate, Daeun thinks about her brother, who protected her, but also at the bullying she has received up until now, wondering if it's really over. With this much thinking, she passes Ijin without noticing him, who asks her if she has something on her mind. She apologizes for not noticing him, but he doesn't mind. Daeun says that they should stop by the store to pick up some things, as their grandpa likes to have dinner prepared when he comes home. Behind them, Ijin glares and smiles a sinister smile, clearly plotting something. Inside the shop, Daeun notices how popular Ijin is based off just his looks, with a couple of girls talking about him. She asks if he's ever had a girlfriend before, who says that he hasn't. Daeun is surprised, noting how popular he is here. He surely must have been there too. Ijin looks at the ground for a second, before replying that he was just busy. He asks her the same question, the answer being the same as his. Inside the apartment, Ijin's grandpa gives him a phone, apparently the newest model. The grandpa says that he had to unbox the phone to put the phone numbers in, hoping Ijin is not upset at this. He also says that he will buy Daeun a phone too, once he has money. Daeun shuts down this notion, saying that her current one works just fine. While they chat, Ijin thanks his grandpa, who is giddy at Ijin's appreciation. Inside his bedroom, he smiles at his new gift, sending a text message to the lieutenant, who wonders why Ijin has a new phone, considering he already bought him an expensive one. In the morning, while getting out of the bathroom after a shower, he sees Daeun rushing for the door, saying that she is late. She also prepared him a meal. While running, she says that she'll make it on time. We find out why she is late, saying that Grandpa liked the soup so much that she remade it in the morning as well. While thinking about her grandpa's appreciation, she suddenly gets kicked to the ground by a pack of thugs, who are all female. One of them says to watch where she's going. Daeun apologizes, but gets slapped instantly. One of them suggests they should go to karaoke, with everyone agreeing. One of them crouches to Dawn's level, saying she must come too. From Daeun's observation and her blonde hair, this seems to be Ijin. They go inside the karaoke building, but only the three of them come out. The worker, seeing that they have finished singing, notes how loud they were screaming in there, saying they must have a lot of energy. He opens the booth that they were in and is shocked to find Daeun on the ground, beaten to a pulp. She gets up and, refusing a 911 call, leaves the premises on her last legs. At school, the teacher makes attendance, with Daeun not being there. Ijin smiles at this, knowing why she isn't in class. One of her lackeys asks if they're going to be okay, but she says to stop worrying, as they had nothing to do with it, almost sure Ijin won't find out. He waits outside the school gate for her, and seeing that she isn't coming, he calls her, but she doesn't respond, as Daeun is curled up inside her sheets, most likely crying. Ijin arrives home, noting her shoes. He goes to her door, knocking on it. She responds to his questions in a raspy voice, him noticing this as well. Daeun makes the excuse of being sick, Ijin not pushing this matter any further. While going back, he spots her shoes once again, but this time he observes that there is blood on them, his eyes once again growing cold at the sight. We cut to Ijin treating her wounds, probably barging in her room out of concern. She lies about what happened, saying that she tried to dodge a bike and fell down some stairs, thus getting the injuries. Ijin asks her if she doesn't want to go to the hospital, but she declines, because they will find out it wasn't some stairs that caused this. We see a bit of her past, probably when this bullying first began, where Daeun tries to blame Ijin for her injuries, saying that she bullies her constantly. It seems that Daeun also called some cops to the scene, but to no avail, as her accusations get shut down by Ijin's mother, who is furious at this. The mother asks Daeun to call her parents. With this being the last drop, she breaks down crying. Ijin notices that she is deep in thought, saying that even though the injuries aren't that severe, she will have to suffer for a few days. Daeun notices Ijin's skill in medical care, and also that their grandpa might not take this well, as he has heart problems. Ijin assures her that he will talk to him walking out of her room. Daeun stops him to say thanks, thinking that it was a good decision to not tell Ijin what really happened. Students like them can't do anything. Outside of her room, Ijin is surrounded by a frightening red aura. Inside a club, Kim talks with his goons about the situation, still bruised up. One of the say is that they can't let this go, and that they went unprepared. Kim suggests that they don't need to fight one-on-one, as they aren't martial artists, all of them grinning in agreement. His sister calls him, who tells him about what she did. Kim is surprised by this, but also very pleased, saying that they were planning to do something to Ijin too. A figure pops out of the shadows, that figure being Ijin. Kim is shocked at his presence, saying that he wanted to have a revenge match anyway. He doesn't get to finish his sentence, as Ijin grabs the head of a goon, bashing him in the ground. Another tries to swing but gets a left hook instead, knocking him out. They all try to rush him, with one of them being kicked and thrown into the wall. He moves on to his next target, and one of them pops up behind him with a bottle, seeming like they've taken him by surprise. His reaction is swift, however, as he disarms one of them and knocks both of his attackers out. He takes care of the last one, Kim again shocked at his combat skills. Ijin glares at him, this being the first time he seems genuinely mad. He warns Kim one last that they should not mess with his sister. That's all for today. Please leave a comment, and I'll see you on the next upload.